Hey guys, today we're covering episode 4 of Marvel Television's Daredevil Born Again. Let's get into it.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Till the End of the Line podcast. I am the nerd with the laughs, and always with me.
Nerd with the knowledge.
That's right. And as you said, we're covering episode 4, Sic Semper Systema, and this is an episode I was excited for. I'm sure Kike was too. It was a really good one. We finally get a special guest in the episode that, well, I'm sure if you've seen it, it was this guy. So yeah, before we get into that episode, we have a bunch of nerd news to get to, and some big nerd news at that.
Some massive nerd news.
So first bit of news, Marvel gave the Russo brothers some baseball cards to track the MCU actors and contracts, and I freaking absolutely love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and they clearly used those baseball cards to give this 5-hour announcement they gave us.
Exactly, yeah. So I'm trying to pull it up. They gave them the baseball cards to track the actor's value, contract status, and film count to manage the massive cast.
Yes,
which is, I don't know, just that's really fun to me. I like that.
Yeah,
I could just imagine them on a giant table, just flipping over cards and checking their stats and stuff like that, just to figure out, okay, when can we use
as
this
if they
person?
were playing like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh. Like, it's so cool.
Exactly.
And I would love to be the person that said, "Hey, I need you to take the list of everybody that works in the MCU currently and where they stand and all those stats and make baseball cards out of them." I would have loved to do that job. Like, if Kevin said, "Hey, Kike, I need you to take care of this," I'd be like, absolutely. And I would have made a pair for myself. Okay, and I would actually, fuck that. Hell yeah, dude.
Language.
Yeah, that would be really fun to do for sure. And the next bit of news, Marvel had a big announcement that dropped today. Some of you will have already seen it by now, and if you haven't, that's one of the reasons you all come to us. And that news is a big announcement of all the actors that are going to be in Doomsday. And they listed 27 actors. They did it a really cool way where they just showed the back of the actor's chair with their name on it. So you want to list off those?
A cool way, but it was definitely an annoying way.
It was definitely annoying because you wanted to hurry up and get to the next chair. But it was an interesting way and a clever way to do it for sure.
Maybe
instead of just having somebody come out and all right, this person's going to be here. This person, I don't know. I thought it was clever.
I had no idea what to expect. So it opens up with this big, huge, like open, vacant studio. They had this huge sliding door, bright light behind it. And then somebody walks up and places a chair. And the chair, it's like one of those folding director chairs. And the first one says Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it says Chris Hemsworth, and then from there it starts going through more. So this was a Marvel live event that we've not seen before. They haven't done anything like this. And with that, every time they revealed a chair, they revealed like a theme song that accompanied that actor's like persona in the MCU. So the first one was Chris Hemsworth, and then a new sound which is from Fantastic Four, which is Vanessa Kirby. So as we know, she's going to be Invisible Woman / Sue Storm. And then we hear the Captain America theme song, and that is Anthony Mackie as Cap. And then we see Sebastian Stan, we see Letitia Wright, and the Letitia one was pretty cool because I heard Black Panther. Immediately, as soon as I started hearing the chanting and the Black Panther sound, I thought they were going to recast and name and reveal maybe a new Black Panther. But that didn't happen. But I'm excited they're bringing in Letitia Wright. It's a bold move for sure, because some people aren't necessarily as accepting of her being the new Black Panther. But let's get her arc. We know that she's going to go out with a bang, and everything's going to get rewritten after these next 2 Avenger movies. So,
yeah, I think she's doing a great job as Black Panther. I'm all for her, considering that character for sure. And then They were also playing the sound was either the project that they're going to be involved in next or the one that they're already associated with, right?
I wouldn't say it's what they're going to be associated with next. It's what
Okay.
most closely what theme song they are most closely associated with. So
Oh, okay.
Vanessa, yeah,
Okay.
so it's their theme song essentially. So Cap, Anthony Mackie, he got his.
Fair
Vanessa
enough. Okay.
Kirby had like a Fantastic Four one from one of the trailers. Chris Hemsworth's was more Thorish. Sebastian Stan, I don't remember what that sounded like. Letitia White when they did the Black Panther theme. Um, and then they did the Ant-Man like the credit scene, his like little detective sound that they do. So and then they put the tiny little chair, which is pretty cute. So that they pulled out a little chair instead of a full full adult chair. Then they did U.S. agents like intro from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So they showed Wyatt Russell. And then this one I'm excited for is they did Tanu as Namor. So I'm excited to see him come back. He's also the first mutant ever that was introduced to the comics. So obviously he's not the very first mutant because we know Apocalypse is, but he was the first mutant ever introduced into the comics. And then, later on retcon to say that, Apocalypse was the very first born mutant.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised too because I was worried they were either gonna, cut ties with him because of that little scandalous lawsuit he had or like situation that he had. So I didn't know what was gonna happen with him, but I was really happy to see that he's still in the MCU and still gonna be continuing on with that.
I don't really know whatever happened out of that. It was just some speculation, and we never heard anything else about it. So I'm guessing things were. Marvel's pretty quick to cut ties when they know the truth. You know what I mean? So I don't think they wouldn't have done their homework and then announced something like this without that being the truth and him being kind of acquitted or it just being BS really. So I feel confident in him staying in the role. Now we also felt confident with Jonathan Majors, and obviously that didn't happen. Side note: did you see he wrote a letter to Kevin? And
I did not.
It's a letter of appreciation, just saying, "Hey, I seen everything you do." Somewhat of an apology letter too, saying, "Hey, I'm kind of sorry I fucked this up," and I know you. There was a big plans for Kang, and so he didn't go too much in detail, but that was kind of the gist of the letter that he explained. He was in a recent interview. I don't know if that was a a white flag saying, "Hey, I surrender, like I get it, but take me back," or if it was just a sincere apology. I took it more of as a sincere apology. That's what I'm leaning more towards, but it could be either one, and
I was just gonna say it could be both for sure.
Yeah,
it could,
it could be both. Yeah, a little bit of both. So, but yeah, I mean, we know that King's story is dead, but maybe revisit somewhere else somehow. But anyways, from there, after Namor, we see Abin Mars Baccarat as a thing, or we not see, but we see his name and we hear like kind of another Fantastic Four, a little different sounding Fantastic Four sound from Sue. And then after that, Simu Liu, we hear Shang-Chi's intro, and then kind of like I wouldn't call it Black Widow intro because it wasn't, but it wasn't also like I don't even know what it was, but we just kind of knew it was Florence Pugh Yelena. It's just some like spy sound situation. And then Kelsey Grammer, which we're gonna touch back on Kelsey Grammer in a bit.
Yes.
Because some weird stuff is happening and I'm confused. We'll talk about it in a second. So Kelsey Grammer, we see his name, and then we see Lewis Pullman, who's playing Sentry, and then we see Danny Ramirez as the Falcon, Joseph Quinn as Human Torch, David Harbour as Red Guardian, Winston Duke as M'Baku, Hannah John as Ghost.
Hannah John came in.
Yeah. Tom Hiddleston as Loki. And then this is what I'm talking about. So we get Kelsey Grammer as the OG Beast, but then we also get Patrick Stewart as the Professor X. We get Ian McKellen as Magneto. We get Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler. And then we get Rebecca Romaine as Romaine as Mystique. And then we get the Donut Lord himself, James Marsden. As Scott Summers. So does that mean Sonic confirmed? We'll find out. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know, right?
And then Channing Tatum as Gambit, Remy LeBeau. And then the second to
Yes.
last is Mr. Fantastic, as everyone's been calling him, Daddy, Pedro Pascal. As Reed Richards, he's like, apparently he's Daddy, whatever the hell that means. And then
Are you saying
RDJ.
daddy or zaddy?
No, well, both. They call
Okay,
him both.
okay, cool. All right then.
And then
And
to
then
wrap it all up with him in person, Robert Downey Jr. I'm assuming is Doom.
oh, I didn't see him in person. I only saw parts of it because I was at work. So
Yeah, he
I
walks
didn't
up,
get to
he sits in the chair, and then when he sits in the chair, he puts his arm over the chair like that, the way I just turned around, and he looks back at the camera, and it says
oh
Robert Downey
nice.
Jr. and it's him, and he was
Yeah.
like, he points, and I think he says something. I don't remember what he says.
Mhm.
But big things missing. So they showed.
So wait, before you get into that, you said a little bit of weird stuff. Why with the OG cast? Why were you saying that
Well,
that's
I'm
gonna
gonna
be weird?
that kind of leads into the big things missing.
Oh, okay.
With that. So we got some recent news that She-Hulk, Tatiana
Yeah.
Maslany, was supposed to have a huge role in Doomsday,
A
but that
significant role, yeah.
yeah, significant role, but doesn't even get
Very
mentioned in
significant.
this entire list. Like,
Hmm.
doesn't even get mentioned. So why is that a rumor and then she doesn't get name dropped? Why they release such an OG cast of the older X-Men, Mystique, Magneto, Professor
Hmm.
X, Scott Summers, and then this new Gambit, and then also the OG Kelsey Grammer as the Beast, but we don't see what's her name?
Tatiana Maslany.
No, no, no. Well, yeah, that too. But then we
Mhm.
don't see Tiana Paris or Lashana Lynch as Monica and Maria Rambeau. And we know that Monica Rambeau is stuck in a parallel universe with Kelsey
Yeah.
Grammer as the Beast.
Hmm.
So what universe is that not the same universe? Are those X-Men's not maybe those are two different X-Men universes, which is could be fine. But then how do you name these OG cast after Deadpool and Wolverine just established that the Logan that we know that died in the Logan movie is the same timeline that our Deadpool's from?
Hmm.
So wouldn't Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds be brought back because they're in
Well,
the same timeline?
yeah, I don't know because the whole Marvel just cutting ties with Ryan Reynolds, I might have thrown a wrench into that. I don't know,
That's a
but
speculation. We don't know.
oh,
That's not
okay. I thought that
confirmed.
was confirmed. Oh, okay, all right then.
There's rumors that that's what's happening, but there hasn't been
Mm,
rumors to deny it either. So it could really go either way.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I'm not 100% convinced that this is the entire cast of Doomsday. I think these are just the big names that they're trying to hook fans with.
Yeah,
I gotta imagine that they're still gonna have other characters in that, or there's these other characters that we're talking about are going to be saved for Secret Wars. And that maybe that news that we got about Tatiana Maslany's very significant role in Doomsday was either a fake out or a misinformation that it's actually going to be a very significant role in Secret Wars.
fair. But how do you
You know what I
line
mean?
up all those actors and actresses and not include Captain Marvel,
Yeah.
not include Tom Holland Spider Man, not
Hmm.
include how do you include Ant-Man and not Hope Van Dyne and the Wasp? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't
Again, we have
have
no idea what this script is and what's the scenario. So I think once we start getting closer to it, we'll start getting a little bit more news on the synopsis of this plot and or something to where we can start to figure out, oh, that's why these characters were named and other ones weren't, and you know what I mean.
yeah, that's fair.
Either either way, it was giant news. It was a cool way for
Huge
Marvel to do it
news.
because, as you said, this hasn't been done before.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm
So
excited for the next bit of news.
one thing I think we can all confirm, it's been speculated, and I think we can now confirm it. So out of all the names that were released, there are 3 teams assembled out of those names. You can get the Fantastic Four, you can get a variation of the Avengers, Everyone else kind of falls into the Avengers, but everybody for the Fantastic Four world would be like the Fantastic Four, possibly their variants, and then Doctor Doom. That's that universe, right? And then the new Thunderbolts movie that's coming up. Everybody that's on the Thunderbolts is there, but Taskmaster. That's the only person not listed.
Yeah, which a lot of people are speculating that Taskmaster is gonna die in
That's what I was
Thunderbolt.
gonna say.
Yeah.
We can pretty much put a stamp on it and say, "Hey, she dead. She's dead. It's over with. She ain't coming back after this movie." So she's gonna pull a Chris Brown and die in the first 10 minutes, like in Stomp the Yard. I feel like that's what's gonna happen.
That's what I was thinking. That Sentry, when they first meet Sentry, he's gonna kill Taskmaster, and then that's gonna be them trying to take Sentry down.
Right. No, I agree.
That's gonna be the reason that they trying to take him down.
I think they're gonna fail horribly, by the way, but that's another topic for another day.
Yeah, most likely.
But yeah, they're gonna get whopped. Well, yeah. So X-Men is the other team. So there's Fantastic Four and Doom, who are not a team, but like they all come from that verse, and then the X-Men verse. So looking at it right now, it looks like there's at least 3 realities that we're gonna be getting these teams from: the Fantastic Four, futuristic 60s universe, and then whatever the original X-Men universe from the OG Fox movies, which is with Ian McKellen and all those other characters of Magneto, Charles, Nightcrawler, Mystique, Cyclops, Beast, but with a new Gambit apparently.
Well, you're saying new Gambit, but we technically haven't seen a Gambit in an X-Men movie yet. We saw Gambit in the Wolverine Origins, but is that what you mean by new Gambit? Because we've seen that guy.
Yeah, because they pulled the whole Quicksilver basically on us with Evan. Was it Evan Turner? Right? What's his name?
Evan Peters, I think, is the last
Peters.
name.
Yeah, Evan Peters. There you go. Yeah. So
I did want to say real quick because you reminded me of the futuristic 60s of Fantastic Four. Is it just me, or are you getting like a Jetsons vibe from that?
Oh, absolutely. I said that.
Yeah. You did say that before? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. I don't know if I thought that or if I heard you say that. So, okay.
And it's getting replaced from the old Remy LeBeau that we see in Wolverine Origin. And in that version, never mind. I take that back.
Because he does at the end of Deadpool and Wolverine, we see that like the portal, the Doctor Strange, the Marvel Sparkle Circle open up, and Channing Tatum's Remy LeBeau turns around and he kind of smirks at it. So maybe it is that same Gambit.
Right. And so the cool thing is that when you open up and come out from the void, and if you have the reality stone and the time stone, that Gambit could have been pulled from any reality. And it's being pulled from the void. But I forgot about the events of futures past. Everything got erased.
Yeah, reset. Yep,
reset all. Basically, what's about to happen to the MCU right now.
Pretty much, yeah.
So yeah, I guess this Gambit works based off of those facts. How we got this Gambit and they retcon and got rid of the old one because they might have fixed this. Well, why no Halle Berry, Storm? Why no Jean? Why no Bobby? What's going on? Like,
yeah,
I need to see an Iceman live action because he would wreak havoc in a freaking doomsday battle world kind of thing,
in the MCU, yeah, for sure.
Heck yeah, and he's needed. Like, he's a key part to the X-Men.
I mean, don't forget we did just talk about the Marvel baseball cards, so maybe some actors aren't available, or they're they can't afford them, like Halle Berry or some, you know what I mean? That might be a reason.
That's fair, I guess.
But all right, that's gonna do it for Nerd News. Make sure to like and subscribe and click that notification bell to keep up with the latest in nerd news.
Hey yo.
All right, with that, we are going to get right into episode 4, Sic Semper Systema. And in this episode, Matt investigates Hector's death and encounters a familiar face while Fisk and his wife discuss their marriage troubles during counseling as he weighs forgiving her infidelity. This was a really, really powerful episode. It had a lot of great points to it. The opening scene shows Hector's belongings getting placed in the evidence bag. Then the coroner confirms it was a 9mm to the temple, execution style, and no room for error. The right side has marginal abrasions and external bevel on the entrance wound. Exit wound has skin tears and raised skull fragments. And the projectile they couldn't find it.
Yeah, single kill execution style. Like it was
Mm-hmm.
obviously, at this point we still don't know who killed Hector.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think we're gonna find out who killed Hector anytime soon?
I think so. I think either the next episode or the following one. I think we will, because I think that's going to be this whole reason why what happens later in the episode, why he hunts down, who's responsible. It's already leading to it. So I think it's going to happen within the next 2 episodes.
I just don't. How does that keep the story going?
Because I think that's going to lead into the task force, and then maybe even Muse at some point. I think that's all. It's all going to tie in together.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know if it really leads this story with Muse and Fisk. I think it's going to be something that's going to trigger towards the end of the season for Matt to stay in the costume, because and so whoever is wearing this Punisher getup, and if it was a task force, maybe, but I just don't see that big of an ending just being pawned off to just a task force.
Yeah. Okay, that's a fair point. Yeah.
It's somebody else in the background, like, and it's going to lead to season 2, and it's going to pay out. So we're going to maybe we might find out who it was, and it's going to be a lead to like kick off season 2 immediately, the way this season kicked off quickly.
Ooh.
Action right off.
What about that? What if this is setting up the story for Hector's niece taking over as White Tiger, and she hunts down the killer?
Absolutely. Kind of like that whole Winter Soldier looking for Bucky kind of situation.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't think we're going to see her in a costume.
No, definitely probably not till season 2. For sure.
I don't think we're going to see her in the costume, period.
Really?
In season 2 either.
If so.
We do, it's at the end. It's at the end where she's like, she tried to do it her way through the cops, the right way, Matt, and shit. That's what's gonna make her take the mantle, because she's like, you know what, this is bullshit. I try to do it the right way.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take matters into my own hand.
Yeah, that would still be technically season 2, so I would be right.
But closer to the end,
yeah,
I feel like.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I'm really believing that they're setting up this story with his niece to take the mantle of White Tiger, especially if they're including her this much, this early into this season. I'm liking it, and I hope we do get it. I know you said that she is a little on the younger side.
Well,
that's
here's the deal.
Explained in season 2.
Yeah, if they keep her on the same actress and she does take the mantle, I don't want her to do anything with the Young Avengers, because you can't take a grimy, like, badass that'll kind of like this whole lore of Daredevil Born Again. It's that darker side of the MCU that we haven't had in a long time, which is similar to what we got from the darker side of the Netflix series. I don't think she translate into the hooray hurrah Young Avengers goofiness. You know what I'm saying? Sure. I don't want that dynamic. If that's the case, then keep her, give her her own Disney Plus show, or pair her up with another, vigilante that's, just as kind of dark and gruesome as her. How she could be here. You know what I mean? I don't want her.
I'm okay if she just stays in the Daredevil series. Like just here and there, like kind of just not every episode, but just a few episodes throughout the season.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? She doesn't have to necessarily be a giant character that gets put into other stuff. She's just a featured character in the Daredevil series, Born Again series.
Yeah, I can see her coming out in like the Punisher special presentation. You know what I mean?
That too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
Hmm.
All right.
Or if even
Uh,
if hopefully the Marvel Television does the Defenders, they do Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, you know what I mean? She could still be in those series just as, a special guest in one or two episodes
that's a fair point.
where
I
their
like that.
paths cross, yeah.
She like sneaks into the morgue.
Mm-hmm.
And so when she sneaks into the morgue, she goes, she's like, I want to see my uncle's body. And they're like, Matt's like, no, like I can't let you see your uncle like
Yeah.
that.
And I'm
And he
liking
takes
this actress. She's giving a really good performance throughout these scenes here. You don't think so?
yes, I think it's good. I think but it's a pretty standard like pissed off Latina. I
I
don't
mean,
think
we
it,
see that on a daily basis, but there might be other fans watching that don't. So you know what I mean?
right. That's what I'm saying. I'm not so wild by it because that's just how
Yeah.
they are. So she's
Yeah.
probably just acting like herself. I'm just kidding. I'm not knocking on that at all.
So
She
mean.
seems like she's a solid actress, but I didn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you know what the hell's her name from Wakanda Forever, Queen Ramonda.
Oh, Angela Bassett.
Yeah, it wasn't like a
Yeah.
performance like that. You know what I mean?
Oh, no. Is
It's
that how I
not.
made it seem? I just meant like that. I think she's giving a really good performance. That's all. Did I
Yeah,
overhype
she's
it?
playing the
My bad.
role of a Latina pretty well. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not downplaying it, but I'm not
Yeah.
shedding much light on it either. You know what I
Okay.
mean? It's just she's doing good for a young adolescent teen pissed off because with unreasonably and understandably so because her
Mm-hmm.
uncle was murdered. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm not like, oh my god, this is amazing acting. I'm like, oh cool, she's a pissed off Latina. Don't piss her
Okay.
off more. She'll fuck you up.
Right.
But
Mm-hmm.
especially with
Yeah.
with the amulet. She tells Matt that she suspects that the cops like were the ones that killed him,
Mm-hmm.
and it's sad to see her so angry. Like that part, I agree with. Like she showed her emotion really well of how much she's not up. She could sniff out the bullshit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like even though she's pissed off, she sniffs out the bullshit. She's like, "Come on, don't be dumb. Like this is the case." And it's just, I think it shows to the New York Latina that grows up that they're forced to be tough because of the crime and the violence that happened. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I wasn't like wowed because every New York Latina has to play that role. Every show I
Okay.
see them, they all play that role. So it's expected. She's playing that role correct, but it's
Yeah.
expected because that's kind of like the MO of a Latina from New York that has to deal with all that craziness.
Mm-hmm.
But it is sad. It is sad to see the tears in her eyes. And
Yeah.
then it splits from there, and we see Muse carrying a body, and he seems to be kind of jacked of some sort because he's like carrying the body on his shoulder like nothing. Like
Mm-hmm.
he might be enhanced some way, shape, or form.
Okay.
Is that
Do you
true? I
know
don't
much
know.
about the Do you know much about the character Muse?
All I know is that he's inspired by what's that famous graffiti artist? I mean, what's his name? He had a show recently here in Chicago.
I'm not familiar
What?
with
Why am I
graffiti artists.
some Banksy?
Okay.
Yeah. Do you know who Banksy is?
I think I've heard that name before. Yeah.
Right. So that's the person I'm talking about. So yeah, so Muse is this Banksy type character. In the comics, he murdered over 100 people and he uses their blood, their bodily fluids and blood to create his like paint. And it's kind of almost
Mm.
impossible. It's like really hard to get blood off of because he makes like he uses blood and regular paint to make some like weird concoction that like it's almost a
Oh.
permanent thing that doesn't come off the wall.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to get off. In the comics, it says he planted 6 corpses of 6 Inhumans that he had previously abducted. So he doesn't he goes against anybody.
Okay. Yeah.
He'll go after powered folks or non-powered folks. So he took down
Yeah.
6 Inhumans. So I would imagine he's somewhat advanced.
You mean
Um,
enhanced?
yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, enhanced. I
Okay.
don't see proof of that just yet, but he seems to be, pretty legit. Oh shit! If he took out 6 Inhumans,
Yeah.
Well, that's
So
tough.
that's where we see him carrying him into, I guess, his lair where he does his painting. And
Yeah, it's
I
giving
guess
me Ninja
now,
Turtle vibes.
yeah, a little bit, yeah. And I don't know. I guess this is setting up to show this is where all those missing people that were reported before. This is what's happening to them. Muse is the
And
one
this is what
taking them.
Hector was talking about when Hector's
Yeah.
like, people are disappearing and no one's doing anything about it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
So now we're seeing the result of that story. So it's
right.
interesting. I like that it's I like the progression of the show so far. It's moving along at a nice pace.
I agree. And for them being kind of shorter episodes, like this episode was probably about 49 minutes technically of
Mhm.
when it cuts to the credits after that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, mine is like 2 minutes from the episode from the intro or whatever. So I mean, there's a lot of information being crammed into these like 40 to 45-minute episodes. And I'm liking it. It's not boring. There's no fluff, I guess you can say, as of yet, at least. You know what I mean? But hopefully it doesn't
Mhm.
happen. But after that, after we see Muse carrying, it flips to, like I said, the intro. From the
Mhm.
intro, it goes to BB and what's his name? Daniel, right?
Yeah, Daniel Blake and a friend, and
Yeah.
they're in a nightclub.
Yeah, they're like hanging out, dancing. And Daniel gets some loose lips, some little flappy lips, and he spills some intel he's not supposed to about
Yeah, well,
some.
she's pressuring him to stay out partying, saying like any normal job, we would take a few more shots, hit up that spot on 23rd, sleep on the train, go home, take a shower, and go to work and do it all over again.
Right,
Dude, that's how I mean, even in my 20s, I don't think I could have done it. That sounds exhausting. Even Daniel Blake was
bro.
like, what kind of routine is that?
I don't know,
You
bro. I
can't
had my
sustain
fun.
that long. Maybe once or twice, okay, but
Not
not.
for a
She
long
made it seem
time,
like,
no. But
yeah, she made it seem like that was a normal thing to be doing.
for the food industry is, man, like I'd get out at midnight. You know what I mean? And I freaking go and party and come home at like 5 a.m. and then sleep, wake up and shower, get ready. If I had to pick up Sofa and I was off the next day, worked out, and I'd.
Yeah, but you got to sleep in your home. She was talking about sleeping on a train, and then then
But
what'd
yeah,
you
that's
say?
true.
Sleep on a train, and then go home, shower, and then go to work.
I've
That's
done
a
it,
yeah.
especially when I was at PF Chang's and no, not PF Chang's. My last couple of years at California Pizza Kitchen, I used to just pull all nighters. Friday night, work mid doubles, work like a mid double situation.
Mhm.
Be out at 9, go party, and Saturdays I usually work doubles again and party and go home, shower, and then snooze on the train ride to work again.
Yikes! No, thank you. I'm good.
Well, that's
I
19-year-old, 1-year-old Kike.
right,
You know,
yeah.
so that's a different Kike. Like not busted knee, busted ankle, hurting back, cracking fingers,
Well,
cracking.
that's why your body's breaking down now because of all that shit you were doing in your 20s. The sleeping on the train, you should have been getting to fucking 8 hours in your bed. You'd have been good.
Oh man,
So
no,
yeah,
no chef in their early years gets that type of sleep, bro. Not at
no,
all.
fair enough, fair enough.
Not.
So then, yeah, as you said, he's drunk, so he's got no filter. He's not thinking right, and he winds up letting slip that Fisk and him are supposed to be setting up a meeting with Clean Green Haulers. It's this new tech company with the dope recycling idea, he said.
And then the news breaks out.
Mm-hmm.
The BB class, like it's cool that she's always in this like story mode, journalist mode, regardless of how drunk she is.
While she was pressuring him and talking to him, she's seen that there was a story there. So then she like patronizes him and is like, oh yeah, that does sound cool. And he fucking takes the bait and just spills it. I'm like, man, she's good. She's real good.
She is. I mean, and she's just a typical chismosa, like that's all a real good journalist is they were chismosas when they were little, and then when they got older, they got really good at getting the tea out of people and that's how you become a journalist, or chismoso for that matter. If it's a guy
Yeah.
journalist, they had a good ear and sniff for the bullshit or the story, and they were sniffing out the tea and sipping it with them. So
Yeah,
she's
and to our
she's a
non-Spanish speakers, that is gossiper. That word
yes,
chismoso.
yes, that's
So
true.
then, yeah. So then they leave the nightclub and they go outside and to get a cab, and it's right underneath the mural of White Tiger, and it says "Vigilante Justice" with
Yeah,
White Tiger with wings. I love that. I thought that was really nice.
nice little tribute, man.
So then, as they're hailing a cab, the camera pans and you see a cop car pulling up and pulling over,
Yep.
and there's a guy under arrest on the curb sitting there, and then the cop is eating. I tried to figure it out. I don't know. Is it popcorn or cookies?
Oh, from the guy that's on the curb.
Yeah.
I don't know
All
what
it
it
said was
was.
butter toffee or caramel with peanuts, and I could not figure out.
I can't really tell what it is either. I think they're like little tiny crackers of some sort.
Yeah, like cookies or
It
something,
looks,
right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, probably. So he gets thrown into a squad car, and then it switches over to Matt on the roof. It seems to be like dawn, like the sun's just coming up right now, and he's playing.
Yeah.
He keeps playing with the horn that Karen gave him, and
That fell off of his Daredevil
his
helmet.
old helmet from the night
Yeah.
of Bullseye with Foggy Past. Yeah,
Mhm.
and then Kristen calls him, and I love how like his phone says who's calling him because he obviously can't read it.
Right.
But it's like they got to be annoying. Like if you're being intimate with a girl, and then it's like some other girl's calling, you get he's like, oh, it's not who you think it is. That's like
Yeah.
like.
And then
They
not only
gotta
that, it's
not
a
be
woman's
cool.
voice that reads it out loud too. Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, maybe that's why he doesn't date Latinas because he knows he'll get killed.
Well, isn't what is Heather a Latina? Do we know that? She looks kind of Latina a little bit.
Oh, you are right. She could.
Yeah.
She's a therapist. That makes sense.
Okay.
That's kind of just like the MO of like just her the way her persona is. It actually kind of pans out. I know a lot of
Yeah.
Latina therapists. Well, I don't personally know. I just, when I went to therapy, there was a list of certain Latinas that or Latinos that I could have used. So Latino seems
Mhm.
to be a lot of Latinos seem to be migrating towards therapy, whether it's psychotherapy or
Yeah.
just like all the
Like
levels
the
of
mental
therapy.
health professional
Right.
profession. Yeah.
Correct. And I mean, I just think it's because of how extreme our culture was when we were younger and the things that we
Mhm.
went through. So kind of transition. So they just kind of want to spread the help to around the world. But I guess it kind of
Yeah.
checks out. I'm gonna look up her
Mhm.
name right now of the actress. Well,
Okay.
Heather Glenn. Glenn doesn't really sound like a Latina name.
You can't say that because one of my favorite female comedians, her name is Angela Johnson, and she's Mexican. And her dad is uh the one with the last name Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
And she even asked, like, one of her jokes is, "How do we get our last name?" He's like, "I don't know." You know what I mean? Like
Well,
that's
her
all the joke.
real name is the actress herself. She is Latina. So it's
Yeah, see?
Margarita Leviva,
Okay.
Levieva, Leviva.
All right.
So I've never seen her until this series. I'm not sure.
Mhm.
Have you followed this actress anywhere else?
I don't think I've seen her before.
Yeah. So apparently she's been in the Lincoln Lawyer, the show. Um, she hasn't been in 44. She was in the Acolyte. She was Mother Coral in the Acolyte. She had
Oh,
face painting. You can't tell
yeah.
it's her. So I guess
Nice.
we had seen her before.
Yeah,
That's
we have seen her
crazy.
technically. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I
All
would
right.
have
Well,
never.
but he gets the when he gets the call from Kirsten, she says she knows it's terrible timing, but she needs him downtown to take a case. And he says for her to get another associate, but she says the revolver is too low, meaning like the staff of lawyers that they have.
Yeah.
And then he says that he's working on that and already set up a bunch of meetings with banks.
Yes.
He makes a little joke about the perks of being with a big law firm now. She said he's gonna like this one. It's Leroy Bradford from the city docket. She's underwater on the Madison case, and they owe them a freebie this month. So he's taking another pro bono case.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to Fisk and Vanessa. I just shipped their name. I said Visk.
Let's just call him Visk. Yeah, cool.
Visk. There you go. Boom. Trademark it. Fisk and Vanessa are in therapy session, and they talk about the affair. And then Heather wants Vanessa to talk about Adam, and she describes it was his hands that attracted her. And meanwhile, like, if you look over to Fisk, he does not want to hear this. He's like, his skin's crawling. He's fidgeting.
The side eye he has, he's like,
yeah,
just dead. Like, if I didn't love this woman, I would murder this woman. That's the eye that he just gave her. Like, she's straight up talking about how, like, I loved his hands. You might as well have just said you loved his, you know what? Because, like, come on, dude. Like, that's got to be hard to hear that. Like, to hear the woman you're madly in love with talk about another man like that. And Fisk has fidgety hands. So I don't know if that was a diss at Fisk, because he always has these fidgety hands, and because he's always doing these things. Like, he has his anxiety that have you ever noticed?
Yeah.
He has this anxiety twitch with his hands that he's always like, and he's like making fists and just doing these weird things all the time. I don't know if it was because he's a painter and has steady hands, and that's the exact opposite of Fisk. And I think that was one of the things that I picked up on that was like, is this on purpose, or is that really what was attracted? Because it didn't remind her of Fisk at all.
Okay. That's a good way to look at it. I didn't think of that. I just seen it as she was very much in that painting world. So she's seen someone that was really good with his hands. And, was he a sculptor or no, he's a painter, or
yeah.
She said that, he drew beautiful sketches.
Yeah.
So I thought what attracted her was that it was something that resembled that part of her life before Fisk. And since Fisk was gone, it just reminded her of that time in her life. So, and then, not only that, but he drew beautiful sketches and stuff like that. But I like your way of looking at that. That was real interesting.
Yeah. I took it as a diss. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm used to watching these episodes, these seasons, and I'm like looking at all the different things, and Fisk is a very intriguing character, especially because he loves that painting. What is it called? The rabbit in the snow, or what's the name of the painting?
I can't remember the name of the painting. Not off the top of my head.
Another part of it was what Vanessa said when she talks about how her dad had abandoned them, and and she kind of, her mom, she never respected her mom for forgiving her father for that. And I think that's where the abandonment of Fisk going on this journey of trying to fix himself with everything that happened in the events of Echo, getting shot in the eye and all that stuff at the end of Hawkeye, with this happening, like, I think it just triggered repressed memories, and that's why she just threw herself into a relationship with somebody else. Was that the answer? No. Should she have done that? Absolutely not. You know what I mean? They're not married, are they?
Who?
Vanessa and him?
Yeah, they are.
Oh, they are. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. Yeah, even then, even more of a reason why she should have just stuck by her husband. Yeah, did he disappear? Yeah, I get it. But you married a mobster. Like, you ain't gonna have a normal marriage with this guy. And I'm not saying, accept him for being a cheating whatever, but he's just because that's not the case in this scenario.
Yep.
So, and after that, it kind of goes back into the Adam stuff, and then the funny part is when Heather asks, where's Adam, and they both go, we don't know. Which I think they both know. Vanessa knows where Adam's at, and obviously Fisk knows where Adam's at. So
no, I don't think Vanessa knows. I definitely don't think she knows, because she asked if Heather asked if Vanessa ended the affair, and then she said that she never had the opportunity to. And
Right.
then she asked if Fisk confronted Adam. So
Hmm.
I think she thinks that she's got a thought in her mind that he actually did kill him. We find out later what actually happened because he tries to play it off that, oh, we just had a conversation and I expressed that how much I love her and how much I want her in my life. And I don't know. To us, we're like, I don't think that's exactly what you said because that don't sound like you. Because
Right.
even Vanessa said, I know you that this is also this is just window dressing. She goes, you're not telling me what actually happened. After the session, uh, Heather wants to talk to Vanessa for a little bit. And so without Fisk. So then she leaves and then she kind of asks her, do you feel safe in your marriage? Kind of hinting at, is he beating you? And
Yeah.
then she shuts that down and she's like, no, trust me, he'll never lay a hand on me.
Yeah. Because that's just not who he is because of what his father did to his mother.
Right.
He'll never be that man ever.
Mm-hmm.
As sick and twisted of a person Fisk is, there's certain morals he won't ever compromise when it comes
For
to
sure.
treating a woman because of what he's seen his mom go through. So
Absolutely.
that's
Yeah.
admirable. He still murdered people in cold blood, but with his bare hands. But he won't hurt a woman.
Yeah, for sure. And then after that, it cuts to another BB report,
Hmm.
and people are basically just talking about Fisk again.
Yeah,
And uh, one guy says that he might be a nice guy, but he thinks he's in over his head.
yeah.
Again, a lot of parallels to our political situation here.
No, let's not get
Which
into that. But yes,
I know, I'm telling you, it's like the writers knew what was going to be happening. It's like a Simpsons situation almost, and they're
yeah.
writing that into this series.
This is where it goes
No,
into
the man going
Matt
to talk to Leroy.
defend.
Hmm.
Correct, and that's the
Hmm.
freebie. That's the freebie that he has to pull, right?
Yeah.
So he
Hmm.
goes in there and he like finesses, finagle, drops mad riz with that girl.
Hmm.
She's like a redhead, I think, right?
Well,
Yeah, she's
before
a
that,
red.
when he's talking to Leroy, he's telling him all the evidence that they have against him, and it's
Right.
pretty much an open and shut case, and that you know all that evidence is stocking up against him, but yet the guy's like, no, I want probation. And then he tells him, what was going on, what was the real situation of why he taking those boxes. It kind of plays on Matt's heartstrings and lets him know like that the system is already put up against him, and the reason that he like missed his hearing last time was because I forget the actual part, the actual reason that he missed his
Well, I think it was
probation.
because he missed it because otherwise he went to a meeting to keep his benefits, some type
Oh,
of
right.
government aid or something like that he was getting.
Yeah.
So he had to choose basically to show up to court or show up to have his benefits and basically to have the potential to have food on the table.
Well, yeah, he lost those benefits because he I think he was locked up, and then he couldn't
Well, that's why he wanted to
make
get
that.
out that day, and he's like, intent, because he ends up Matt Murdock ends up talking down his sentence to only like 10 days or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's like 10 days. He's like, that's nothing. I'm gonna miss my meeting with my benefits, and now I'm not, when I get out, I have to wait 10 days, and I'm not gonna have food. I'm not gonna be able to put, and it's just a really bad situation.
I remember him saying that was one of the reasons that he was stealing, was because that had already happened.
It happened before, and now he was missing something else. He was missing another similar situation to having those benefits. Either way, it's this never-ending vicious cycle of being stuck into what's the word I'm looking for? Like this revolving door of, I can't eat because I don't have the benefits, but now because I can't eat and I don't have those benefits, I'm forced and have to resort to stealing a couple boxes, or he always looks like he's trying to steal because of his past, and people have put this image on him, so now he has no choice but to accept it.
Yeah, one of the reasons he was saying he was stealing was because he was eating out of dumpsters and he wanted one nice dessert to eat for once.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's standing his ground and saying, I did not steal it.
Didn't one of the excuses could have been scrolls?
Yeah, was it a scroll? He's like, not likely.
No.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's a nice little shout out to, sometimes the system doesn't work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And justice isn't served, and or the system is wasting time. I almost feel like sometimes on certain people that aren't super important for you to waste those those tax dollars on. You know what I mean? Like this guy was just stealing a box of damn cookies. Like, you don't gotta throw him in jail for that. You know what I mean? Like, relax. It's not that serious.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he has a history with drugs and all that, so I get it. But once you get tossed into the system, I think it's just saying that there has to be a better way for things to be done, and that's what this guy's talking about.
Yeah, that lady wasn't a redhead, by the way. She's a brunette.
Oh, is she brunette? Okay.
Yeah.
But he like swaggers her up for sure. And he like smooth talks him, and let's just put it out there now. Matt Murdock has stolen the mantle of the biggest ladies man that is in the MCU.
You're not giving him that award,
yeah. He took it from RDJ. Tony Stark no longer holds that title. Well, I guess Tony Stark's dead, so I guess that works.
Yeah,
I forgot that he died. So, yeah, for sure. I mean, he pulled Elektra, She-Hulk, Karen, probably this chick in the past. That's why he could smooth her over like this.
Yeah.
Now this Heather girl. Yeah, this guy got game, and he's blind.
Yep. So then after that meeting, he runs into the detective that he beat the brakes off of in the bathroom. And he's on the phone with them. Officer Powell, thank you. And then the officer's on the phone, and Matt kind of talks to, he calls him over saying, I thought I recognized that voice. And he kind of antagonizes him, saying that he knows what he did, thinking that he was the one responsible for killing White Tiger, or has something to do with it. And then through that kind of pisses him off, and he pushes him up against the wall. And while he's saying that, he's going through like his lineage that they were cops, and like his uncle was a cop, his dad was a cop, all that shit. And
His
then
grandfather.
Matt, yeah, and then Matt hears his heartbeat and realizes that he's telling the truth, that he had nothing to do with it.
Right.
I thought that was a really cool scene.
Yes.
And that was kind of shocking to find out that he had nothing to do with it. Because I think you remember I was saying I thought that it was him that could have been in that Punisher getup and have done it.
Yeah. And my theory was it was that Nicky Torres guy.
Yeah.
That somebody paid him to have to, not paid him or threatened him, or blackmailed him to say, hey, go kill them. I need him gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If he's still
And
on the street.
as of now, that theory's holding water, because we now know that Officer Powell didn't do it. So
yeah,
it could be him.
And then later this episode, we'll find out it was not the actual Punisher that did it.
Yes, which
So
I don't think any of us believe that.
No, agreed. So after that, it flips over to Fisk and his team over at the docks, and he's saying that the docks is a black eye on New York, and he needs to fix the dock. So he has this little 3D diagram of what he wants it to look like, and
that was a nice Fisk impression, by the way. It sounded really close to him. I don't know if you meant to do that on purpose or
no.
The way he said black eye, it's really sounded like Fisk a little bit.
Did it? I was not doing that on purpose, but I'll take it. It's my best Vincent D'Onofrio playing Fisk impression. So,
but go ahead.
Because Vincent D'Onofrio doesn't talk like that naturally. It's a persona voice that he's putting on for Fisk. So,
so yeah, he's talking about the 3D model,
right? Yeah. So he talks about like what he wants to do and why he wants to do it, and I think he wants to redo those docks for some import transport for his business outside of being a mayor. I think there's a double agenda of why he wants to do that, but also to make the city look good.
Yeah.
And he's so used to snapping his fingers and giving orders and things just happening. And with his, his chief of staff, he has to go through the ropes and the reins and do the political longer route.
Yeah.
And he's
that
like,
was a really funny dialogue between them. It made me laugh.
He's like, so what you're saying is that there's a possibility that this could happen. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I can work a possibility, basically. Like, he's like, fine, fucking humor me, woman. Let's make this happen. What do we got to do? Start shutting down every idea. He's basically like a whiny baby that doesn't get what he wants when he wants it. So now he's like, fine, I'll listen to you. So it was a funny exchange.
Because he kept listing things, and she goes, well, no, first we have to do this. He goes, all right, then we could do it. And then she goes, no, well, then you have to get approval from this committee. And then he's like, all right, well, let's do that then. And then he finally gets her to like finish saying
name the
what
12 steps that he needs to complete. Yeah,
exactly.
Before he can pass go and collect $200. He's like, Jesus Christ, just let me pass go and get the $200 already. Come on.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why I thought that exchange was so funny.
I agree. I like this version of him.
So then after all that, it cuts back to Matt talking to Leroy and giving him the good news that he got it down to only 10 days, and this dude's still not having it. Yeah.
No, and he's not happy about it. He's not happy about only 10 days. Like, he's pissed off, and he's like, I told you probation, and he's like, and I only wanted probation because I'm not guilty. So, and this is where he dives into how it's his vicious cycle of the criminal cycle of like in and out of the jails of probation and 30 days, 90 days. And he starts going in,
So I accidentally combined those two scenes. I thought that happened earlier. You're right. That happened after he came back with the good news. Okay.
So he says it here. He's like, it's bad enough I missed my SSI appointment, and not to mention that they cut off my food stamps.
So it was the SSI appointment that we were talking about that he missed before.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is when he's talking about like eating garbage out of the dumpsters, and that's when he says, I wanted a dessert. He wanted just a reward because he's tired of bottom feeding and and deal with all this nonsense. And this is what I was saying. Like, just let the guy have the damn box of cookies or crackers.
Right.
And he said it cost them, five. I don't know if that's accurate. I would say it's like 10 times more to employ all the officers, to manage him in jail, to give him lunches. Like, they spend maybe 20 times more than what that box of crackers was
Yeah.
on just keeping him in there for 10 days. You know what I mean? Like, just he could have gotten away with it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. This next scene, this was
Was
probably the most awkward I've ever seen Mayor Fisk ever
yeah.
be when he's at the school and these kids are singing so offbeat. Like, I get it,
Yeah.
they're kids. Sometimes kids got
They're
it,
singing
sometimes
off
they
key
don't.
like you wouldn't believe. Yeah.
Dude, it's ridiculous. Like, and this was done on purpose. Not It wasn't a knock on how these kids can be
Oh,
bad. They're like,
yeah, for
kids,
sure.
we need you to not at all sing in harmony and sound horrible. We want to
Yeah.
annoy this guy. And that's exactly what they did. Like, I
Yep.
just recently went to Mia's concert and they sounded beautiful.
Yeah.
She's a young kid and, she's about to be 10. And then we have, they have all the other different ages up to 8th grade. And there was this choir performance and they did great. So kids can sound good. That was not the
Yeah.
case right now. This was a
Yeah.
horrible version. Poor kids. Even the kids that did it, they're probably like, "Oh my god, we sound so bad." I'd be
Yeah.
embarrassed to have to do that. But hey,
Yeah. And
I
then
mean,
after
I guess
they finish that first song, he starts clapping like, "Oh yeah, you did a good job," and he's getting his coat. And then they start to sing again, and he goes, "No, no, no, that's okay." He goes, "You guys are great," and he puts on his coat and then he leaves.
get me the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
The way he claps and just stands up so fast, it was so funny.
Yeah. I like that they're giving Fist a
Some
little bit
comedy.
of like comedy scenes, yeah, just to change it up a
But
bit from
it makes sense to play at that role, to play at him. He has to do those appearances. He has to do to put on the show. He needs to, strut a little and play optics, and he's doing it right now, and he's so bad at it. He's just so bad at it. It's
yeah.
funny to see him do that. But
Hmm.
now we find out that the whole recycling situation got leaked, and a BB report came out. And Fisk
Yeah.
is livid. He calls for a full meeting and he wants everybody in my office now. And the chief of staff is taking it like a G.
And then the Latvian people sing the same fucking song that the kids were singing, but they just substitute like the Latvian word for the word Latvia or Latvian, something like that. They just substitute a word that the kids were singing, which
Yeah,
you just see his face like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
with the head tilt,
Yeah,
like, bro. And then it flips back to him grilling his entire
yeah.
team about trying to find out who the leak was. And kudos to Daniel stepping up and saying, "It was me. I screwed up."
Mm-hmm.
And the chief of staff was like, "Shit, this kid's gonna die. Maybe not die, but like his career's over." I mean, he went up with fucking guns blazing, saying, "Yeah, yeah, it was me. I fucked up," and it paid off.
Yeah, I
I,
gained a
I
little bit of respect for the guy when he did that.
it and Fisk gained a lot of respect for him. Yeah, it was,
Mm-hmm.
he pleads his case. He explains, "Hey, I was stupid. I went out drinking. I stayed up late, and I started drinking."
There
Or
was some
he says, "I
ketamine.
started drinking." Yeah, so tequila and ketamine. He's like, "I was drunk and stupid, and I didn't mean it, and I know it's unforgivable, and I'm not asking for your forgiveness."
Mm-hmm.
And I think from there, I think Fisk seeing a younger version of him, realizing he's made mistakes before,
Yeah.
and trying to give this kid a second chance. I think it's him in hopes of, if I'm going to do good by this kid, hopefully people are going to start doing good by me. And he's thinking, if I give this kid a second chance, maybe Vanessa's going to give us a second chance for real.
That's
That's what I
interesting. Yeah.
got from this part. This, because like I've been in the emotional state where, like, when relationships don't work, whether it's a relation like a love interest or family or friends, they fall apart. It's like, well, where did I go wrong? What did I do? Like,
Yeah.
maybe I didn't do wrong in that relationship, but I mistreated somebody else, and then that's karma getting back at me. What
Okay.
is, where did I go wrong? And sometimes I've thought about that. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna treat this person with respect and kind of just put it into the world that, so I can get it back.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he's doing right now, because he mentions that his two qualities that he has was being truthful and loyal
Yeah.
are two
Loyalty and
qualities.
courage. Yeah.
Oh yeah, loyalty and courage. To have those two qualities, you just can't make them or have them. Like, you either have them or you
Hmm.
don't. You know what I mean? Like, you just
Yeah, for sure.
and because he does, and he stepped up to the plate and owned up, he earned a lot of respect of Fisk, and it was cool to see that. But
You
then he
mean
goes
that Fisk gained respect for Blake, right?
yeah, Daniel, and then he
Hmm.
puts his hand on his shoulder. And he's like, "Do you understand that if you ever do this shit again, it's over for you? Like, you're
Yeah.
fucked."
Yeah.
And I think he meant like, I'm
You're
gonna
gonna end up
kill
in the
you.
Hudson. Yeah, you're gonna end up in the Hudson for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, bro, for sure. Um, then the chief of staff is just like, oh my god, how did he pull that off? Like, I think
Mhm.
she's definitely in shock. Like, what just happened? I didn't think that was gonna happen.
So then, yeah, after that, it cuts to another BB report, and they're talking about uh the garbage and that news break, and a woman saying that that she can't help but think that there's another scandal or this and that.
Yeah,
So then, it cuts to Matt going back to the scene of the crime to try to see if he can
yeah.
find the
Any
the
evidence,
bullet
really?
casing. Yeah, well,
Oh yeah.
he's looking for the bullet casing. Yeah, and
Mm-hmm. Okay.
so then Matt goes to the scene of the crime to try to find the bullet casing from White Tiger's execution. When he hears like a motorist drive by, and he runs over a little piece of metal, and he hears the metal
It looks like a
bouncing.
bottle cap of some sort.
It was a tiny piece of metal that was squished. I didn't see it as a bottle cap. I thought it was just a really small piece of metal squished. It may have been a bottle cap, but from what I could see, it was way smaller than that. And then he knocks over like a mini glass of alcohol that you get at like a mini bar in a hotel, and he knocks it over with his
Yeah.
cane, and he hears that is it like an alleyway or a walkway
It
that it's on
literally
a
says in the caption, "Cap continues rolling." It is a bottle
oh,
cap.
I saw metal clanks, and that's why I was like, oh, it's a little tiny piece of metal.
Yeah, it says metal
Um,
clinks first, and then it says that the cap
Bottle
continues
cap.
rolling, and then
Oh,
well,
nice.
it just says cap, but it was a
Oh,
bottle
okay.
cap, and
Oh,
then like you
nice.
said, he
Okay.
knocks over that little mini bar drink, that little 1 ounce shooters,
Hmm.
and it rolls down the alley.
Yeah, he
This gets
hears that
him
the alleyway's on a little decline or
slow,
a little hill. Yeah, a little slope. Yep.
and then the bottle rolls down, and so did the cap continue to roll down. So he's like, "All right, cool, let's walk this way." And then he hears the bottle kind of stop, and the bottle falls into like a storm drain. And when he falls in there, he reaches in, and then he, sure enough, finds a bullet casing, and he smells it, and
Hmm.
he's like, "Oh yeah, this is a bullet casing right here." And then
Yeah.
it switches out from
And then
there.
we see the Punisher logo on the case, right? As he's moving it around.
No,
We don't see it
we
then? Is it later
no,
on that we see it? I could have
yeah.
sworn we
So
saw it right there.
you just
Okay.
spoiled it for whoever hasn't seen it. Oh, like
Well,
that.
yeah, I'm sure if they're watching this, they've seen it already, most likely.
Yeah.
I could have sworn maybe it was just me combining two scenes again.
He grabs it and he smells it, and then he touches
Mhm.
it. And when he touches it, he seems like to be feeling for something on it, and then he puts it in his
Mhm.
pocket. And then
I
he
think
starts.
he
This
feels
is
that
when he starts
logo.
walking.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what makes him go walking to where he
Okay.
goes right now. So he goes
Hmm.
to this like little dark alley situation, looks around for people to watch him, and then he slips past his gate, and then he walks through like this open field. And there's a
Hmm.
camera there, so I feel like
Yeah.
he's being surveillanced, and where he's going, he
Surveilled,
knows
yeah.
he's going to be watched. And oh yeah,
Hmm.
surveilled. And he goes to this basement, walks this long, long, long hallway of like in the basement with just like cables running above him and all this nonsense.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, where is he going?
Yeah. I want to know how he's tracking that.
Like how he knows where
from
to
that
go.
bullet, yeah, how from that bullet casing is he figuring out where, like, which path to take and where to go?
Oh, no. I just don't. He hasn't memorized. I feel like. Well, I don't know, but my curiosity was like, how does he remember how to get to Frank Castle's lure? Like he knows where Frank is at.
Oh, you mean his lair?
Layer, yeah. He's not using the casing to track down
Oh, so
Frank
you're saying
Castle.
he already knows where that is?
Yes.
Okay, that makes more sense because I'm like, how the hell is he tracking where to go? It wasn't computing for me. I'm like, what the hell's
Yeah,
going
I
on
don't
here?
think he was tracking it. No,
Okay,
he was feeling the casing and he felt the Punisher
mhm,
logo, so that's
yeah,
why he knew to go to Castle.
yeah. So
And
then he finally
it's
gets
crazy.
into the room. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, and that's when Castle attacks him. He's like, it's me, Frank, it's me." He's
Well,
like,
yeah,
"Oh,
when
Red."
he walks into the room, you can see just like a shelving unit with just a bunch of guns racked on there. And
Yeah,
then he walks in and he's like, "Hello, I know you're in here." And then as immediately as he says that, Frank charges him, yelling, and then he holds the handle of an axe up to his neck. And
yeah,
then Matt's like, it's me, it's Matthew." Frank, he's like yelling at him. And then after Frank realizes it's him, he just slams or stabs the axe into the locker into the left side of Matt's shoulder. And he's like, "What are you doing here?"
well, it wasn't a locker. It was like a box. The locker's to the right
Well,
of Matt.
he's
To
up
the left
against
of
the
the box.
lockers. Yeah.
Yeah,
It did
Matt
look
is.
like a little square like
Yeah, it
wood
was
thing
like a
that he
square
smashed
box.
through it, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's a
I
box.
just assumed it was a locker with like something on it. Okay.
Like this whole conversation, this whole dialogue between them is peak cinema
Yeah.
MCU. Like this is something
Yeah.
we haven't had in a long time. Something dark, something some
Yeah.
swearing and throwing some vulgar words around. This is something the MCU has been missing, and I don't
Yeah.
know if we're gonna see that in the movies because movies are generally released for a family outing, but I'm glad that they're doing this and going through all this stuff. When he's like, I do not have time for your candy ass hero shit. And he calls him a
Hmm.
pussy. Like he calls him all these words in the book. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, there's no way this would be okay on a freaking, on a movie that we're supposed to take kids to. You know what I mean? And I'm
Yeah. Well,
glad that they're
definitely
doing it in
they'll
this
have to
show.
rate it R for sure. But before that, Matt tells Frank a client of his was shot, and guess whose logo he found on the bullet casing, and then he puts the bullet down, and
Oh,
that's the
then he
first
slams
time
the
we
casing.
see. Yeah, that's the first time we see the Punisher logo on it, and
Mhm.
then Frank says, "Oh, for Christ's sake, a bunch of bullshit fat boys, huh?" And I was like, "Oh, that's me. Look it right here."
I'm dead.
Right when he said that, I was like, "Hey, he's talking on me."
Bro.
I'm really glad that that John Bernthal walked away from the initial shoot because he said that he felt that the writers weren't getting it, that they didn't understand Frank Castle the way that we would like him and the way that John Bernthal understands the character.
Yeah.
I'm glad that he did that because then that made them go back and rewrite that scene, and then he came back to the
Or
project.
or rewrite a whole new scene for them. Yeah, that
Correct.
whole
Yeah.
like where he's like telling him to say his name. He's like, "Oh, it has nothing to do with him." He's like, "Oh, God damn it, Jesus Christ!" Like, just say it, just say his damn
Yeah.
name. And that was
That was powerful.
such a powerful scene to
Yeah.
see Matt in tears, and what he says is just like that he was basically a saint. He was his guardian angel, essentially,
Yeah.
and we just see Matt break down. Like it's. I don't think I've
So
ever
much
seen
to
him.
where he got Matt to punch him and like to break a little
Yeah,
bit, and then Matt immediately he pulled back. He goes, "I'm sorry," and then he's like, "What the hell are you sorry for?" He's like, that's how you need to be right now."
yeah. And when he says, "I hear my little boy tells me
Oh,
to go get him, daddy." Because every single last one of them get him. I'm
got
just
me
like,
right in the feels, dude. Yeah,
oh my god!
right
Like
in the
just
feels.
like, how do you get mad at that for
Yeah,
ugh. such an intense moment.
Yeah, this by far was my favorite scene of the show.
So
I
far,
mean,
yeah.
obviously because they had Punisher in it, but not only that, because of the dialogue that happened between these two characters, it was phenomenal. Like it's everything I was hoping for when we found out John Bernthal was going to be in this series as Punisher again.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm glad that Bernthal did what he did to get it to end up to get it to
Where
be
it's at.
yeah, to where it's at exactly.
And I think him doing that raised some eyebrows, and that's why, um, what's his name? Kevin stepped in and read the script and was like, "No, we need to do this. We're changing this." And
Yeah.
I think Kevin respected what they did at Netflix, and if Charlie and Vincent, because they were given more freedom to kind of call the shots a little bit of how the script was going to be written and which direction they were going to go and what picture and image and story they were trying to tell. And Kevin
Yeah.
gave them some of the reins to do that. And I think that's what made Berthol just be a little bit more open to the new script because all right, cool. Like I got the OG cast, got my back. They know what we need to do, and I think that's
Yeah.
why this is beautiful.
And
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, he's a co-writer on the special presentation, isn't he?
Yes, Berthol. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm really happy about that because that's I mean, I've already been a John Bernthal fan for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
but the reason I like him as Punisher is because he really understands his character and he cares a lot about it.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm even more excited for this special presentation, knowing that
Yeah.
he's a co-writer on it. I have a feeling like it's going to be a great one.
Yeah, I was telling Sandy about him and who the Punisher was. She thought he was just like another low rate, hero or whatever, nothing like super
Hmm.
fancy. And I explained a little bit on the backstory to her, and I was like, no, he's an ex-Marine or special ops guy,
Hmm.
and he became almost too dangerous to keep alive, and he knew too much, and they tried to take him out, and they killed his entire family and attempted to kill him, but he didn't die. I'm like, and then he came back with a vengeance and took out every single person that had a hand in killing his wife and his kids.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Marvel is deep, babe," and she's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, clearly." Like that's she didn't
I
even
mean,
think the complexity of certain stories of these characters can be, and she's like, "That's intense." Like, oh my god.
yeah. Yeah, I
So
mean, our
it's
buddy Regs from Film Addicts said it best. He's a serial killer. It's just we like him so much because he just kills the bad guys. You know what I mean? Like he only goes after guys that deserve killing, and you know what I mean. So, but yeah, exactly what you're saying. There are so many complex stories in Marvel. A lot of people kind of don't realize that because they just think it's superheroes and fantasy and all that stuff. But
right.
there's a lot of deeper stories that are there that people took the time they'll realize that.
Exactly. Like, and I think, and if you look at it from the DC side, like that's why everyone loves Batman so much because he has a
Hmm.
complex, deep story. His villains have deep complexity to them. They're all doctors, masters of something, and they're all very
Yeah.
intelligent. And that's what draws us to Batman. And but that's why like the people that you know, Victor's included in this, and him being a bestie of mine, it's just like one of his favorite heroes is Superman. And I'm like, he's such a cop out. He's such a cop out of a hero because like he's this alien that has all this power that comes from another, like he's
Yeah, he can
so
do so much and
OP.
he's damn near invincible that it's yeah. I get what you're
Yeah.
saying.
And then for him to be easily broken apart like by the Joker in the Injustice comics, like it just shows how fragile of a character he really was. Versus Batman have had every chance where he could have crossed the line and be just like the Punisher and murdered people, but he doesn't, and that's why Batman's so
Hmm.
famous, and that's why characters like the Punisher are so famous because he's he's not doing wrong. He's doing some bad things that he's trying, to bad people, but he's
Hmm.
not really wrong. You know what I mean? And like,
Right, exactly.
rooftop. He's like, the difference between me and you, he's like, is when you put them down and you throw them in jail, they get out and they're back on the street the next day. When I put them down, they stay down.
Yeah.
That part, I was like,
And I was loving even more that in this scene he keeps calling him Red like he does in the comics. I was
yeah,
like, fucking, beautiful.
yeah. And he just has such the perfect voice for him. He just has the right demeanor for him, and you can see him all scruffy with the beard right now. So as we know, and there's a couple not scenes, but we've seen like clip art of him wearing the full Punisher get up, the whole tactical uniform, with his haircut and his face shaved. So we know he's gonna gear up and get in shape this season. How or where? I think that's when they probably try to take on the task force or something. But yeah.
Yeah, I definitely see it coming for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so then after that scene with Punisher cuts to Vanessa and Fisk, or what did I call him? Visk earlier. So Visk are having they're having a dinner and they're talking pretty much about what happened in therapy.
Yes, but notice they're sitting closer. They're not on the opposite ends of the table. They're across from each other. Therapy's working. They're working through their problems. And I think this is the first time we see that there's hope for their relationship. And I think Fisk is feeding into that and seeing that. Yeah, it's a powerful, intense scene. And often this is what relationships are like, especially, and I guess in my mind, I don't know what it feels like to be in a role of politics like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And 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 she comes from a total different world. And in this situation, in this lens, she comes from the criminal world now. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's interesting to see the toll that this new role that he's taken on, because he's like, just trust me, instead of explaining the full story.
Are you saying that they're trying to dive into this storyline a little bit more to play on the fact that he's changing so much into politics and that she wants to keep things how they were before when he was Kingpin? Okay.
Yeah, and that's the man she fell in love with. The power that this man had, and the ability to do whatever he wanted when he wanted, and when he called the shots happened. And that's how she ran the show. She put a lot of money in these people's pockets, so she earned their respect. So when she said jump, they jumped.
Yeah.
And that was the respect she gained when he was out of the game. And I think where the issue was is now she doesn't see that version of that man anymore, because he's doing the political thing. So that was where their turmoil was from the beginning. But now, sitting across from each other, instead of opposite side of the tables from each other, she's starting to lean into like, okay, cool, let's figure this out. I love this guy. He's a new version of himself. You know what I mean? That's where I'm seeing. That's where I see their relationship going. Because I mean, that's what happens in relationships. People, 2-3 years, 4 years into the relationship, if you're the same person you were when I first met you, then I'm doing something wrong, because I'm not motivating you to be a better person or be or reach your full potential, and vice versa. If I'm the same person
you're not inspiring growth,
right, and you have to change, you have to evolve. And I think she wasn't ready to make that change. She thought it was going to be mobster, life for the rest of their life. And he has bigger plans. So I liked it. It was cool dynamic that we're seeing. I don't think we've ever seen that before. Like we never seen when Potts and Tony have issues. We never saw when why Jane and Thor broke up. Like we never seen any of the turmoil.
We got it in Thor: Love and Thunder, but more as like a montage. We didn't see it like in real time.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like nothing ever really invested into relationships, why they fell apart or how they persevered to stay together. MJ and Peter, we got to see them fall in love, which is cool. We've seen love stories, but we've never seen the dirty real side of relationships. Because
that's why I'm loving. Yeah, that's why I'm loving this Marvel television division, is because they're able to dive more into that side of these heroes' lives or in villains' lives, and
Mhm.
and tell them in a series so that they can dive more into that and explain it in each episode a little bit more.
Yeah.
hmm
And
And
then
then so
from
then after that meeting, they Matt and Heather, yeah, Matt and
Heather,
Heather, he gets home or she gets, I forget which, if he got home or
he
she
gets
walked
home.
in. He gets home,
I
right?
think
And then
he gets
she's wondering,
home.
like,
Yeah, she's not used to being worried about somebody all night, and so
mhm,
she's sleeping over at his apartment and was waiting for him at the house basically. And they just started dating, and she's already sleeping over and being worried about the guy. Like,
mhm.
hope this doesn't happen, but I hope she doesn't.
Yeah, you've said before that you think she's dying this season, right?
Well, I've changed that thought
Okay,
process now because IMDb has her ranked through this entire season and in season
okay.
2. So she's going to be in almost every episode from this point on. But I do think that she will be targeted and injured. So I'm going to keep the same thing there where she might not die now, but I think she's going to be targeted for sure. And
Okay.
to hurt for the people that know Matt's identity, they're going to try to hurt him through her. Because Foggy's gone, Karen's MIA. What other vulnerability does he has?
Yeah, so you're looking for reasons to get him back into the Daredevil costume, right? Or
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Do you think Heather will know that Matt is DD?
I don't know. I think he's gonna try to play that close to the vest now and keep as very little people that know his true identity as he can. Um, but it's always difficult to keep that from the spouse,
Mm-hmm.
especially she's a smart one, so she's gonna start. You
Who's
know,
gonna pick up on it?
yeah, exactly.
If MJ could figure out that Peter was Spider-Man, this
hmm
girl got a PhD in psychology. You
Yeah,
know, she's
yeah,
gonna figure out he's sneaking out in the middle of the night for
I think so. Yeah, I
hours.
think she's gonna figure it out. Yeah, now
You know
that
what I mean?
now that you point out those facts, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think so.
And on top of that, if she is playing a Latina, these they're like mini FBI agents. You can't sneak nothing past these girls, you know?
Yep, yep,
And rightfully so. Why would you try to? Because you just don't even try because you're gonna get caught.
exactly.
Just be a straight up guy. So after that, we see them, and I think this is that goes to the name of or to the what was it the Disney Plus title of the episode, and where Fisk and Matt are trying to hold back
Oh, you mean
or
the
suppress.
description of the episode?
On Disney Plus, it says for them to hide their darker past.
Yeah, the description. The title was Sic Semper's what is Sic Semper Systema. So you're talking
Right.
about
No,
the
but
description of the episode.
description.
Yeah,
Right. So the
okay.
description says, let me look it up really quickly. It says, Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk, darker halves fight to be unleashed.
hmm
And that this is where that ties in right here. So now he
Yeah.
goes upstairs. He opens up his little rooftop, hideaway where he has all of his helmets laid out, and that's where we see that
Yeah.
picture that we were shared with all his different color helmets: the yellow one, the gray
hmm
one, the black one, and two different red ones. I think. How many helmets is it total?
I'm gonna pull it up here. Give me 1 second.
But mirroring that, also
Yeah.
see Fisk walking through this basement, and he walks past the rabbit in the snowstorm with the blood splatter on there. So we see that picture, that painting from the first series.
hmm
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so 5. I was right. So it's
Okay.
the gray one. It's the two red ones, the gray one, the black one, and the yellow one. And then he opens up his case with his baton, and he sees his whole baton, and then this massive like mustacholi and huge sausage links with a bottle of wine. That Fisk opens up this huge plate of food, and I'm like, that looks
Okay.
good with the roasted peppers and the Parmesan
Yeah. Yeah.
cheese. I'm
Yeah.
like, man, this is making me hungry.
hmm
I'm a huge fan of those type of sausages. Like, well, I usually do chicken because I don't do pork. or I'll do full
Mhm.
beef sausages like that. Man, and you slice them and you saute them in with the peppers and the onions. Oof, I was looking at it like, Fisk, bro, you eating good
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
And then we see Adam in
Yes.
caged up,
Yep.
and then and I'm like, what is going on? Like, what kind of weird shit is Fisk into? Like, and he's like his full on hostage, and he's eating in front of
Well,
him, the rub it in his
yeah,
face.
he's towing that line because he said he wasn't that man anymore, meaning he's not gonna kill him, but he's finding new ways to still be Kingpin. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So he's still torturing the guy and keeping him locked up, which was that was wild to see.
it was wild. It's crazy,
Yeah.
and he's like screaming to let me out, and then we see Daredevil Matt doing some new moves with his um the grappling hook that comes out. I forgot what
Mm-hmm.
that style of they do it in Sung Chi.
Yeah, it's what
Uh
his sister uses, where
yeah.
it's she's that thing at the end to like wrap
Yeah, it's
people and
usually
hit
like
people. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's usually like a weighted ball, where it's
Mm-hmm.
like you can hit them with that, or when
Mm-hmm.
you wrap things around it, it kind of grips onto it, or it can be like some type of blade, like a grappling hook, or an actual physical like sphere kind of thing, similar to what like Scorpion uses. Um,
Yeah.
Even though we found out that that was actually a gardening tool that he uses, because that's what was
Yeah.
used to kill his wife. That's why he keeps it.
Mm-hmm.
So he starts doing that type of thing and wrapping it around himself and then letting it fly out. It was pretty
Well,
cool.
no, that wasn't used to kill his wife. Sub-Zero froze her. She was using that to garden, and then when he showed up, he grabbed that and a rope and used that to attack everybody else.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're
Mm-hmm.
right. You're right.
Yeah, but either way, if anybody out there watching knows that style of martial arts, comment that right below.
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it just keeps flicking back and forth. And like I said, Matt throws that thing and then it just ends the episode.
Yeah,
And I
that
think
was
it's
a
a
badass way to end the episode for sure.
yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Um, then from actually I lied, it doesn't end the episode because we see Muse walking again. And this is
Oh,
where
that's
he
right. Yeah.
you're right, you're right. So it shows some credits and then boom, it switches to this. And we see him lay this African American on the table, and he seems to be draining his blood through his leg.
Yeah.
And he's he's awake, but he can't move, and he's just
Mm-hmm.
screaming. He doesn't look like he's tied down, so maybe he's drugged of some sort. I'm not really sure how
Yeah.
he's not
He gave him
fighting
some kind of like paralyzing agent to keep him his body
down,
still.
right?
Yeah.
And then in the background, we also see two bodies hanging,
Mm-hmm.
and then it cuts, and then it ends. And I was
Yeah, that's
like,
right.
oh
We
my
got
god.
kind of a mini end credit scene in the show, kind of like how Marvel does with their movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So crazy episode, strong episode. I think IMDb rated it 8.4. So right now the highest rated
I thought it was
episode
8.5.
is it? I don't remember. 8.4.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you're right. Maybe these are live updates. Maybe people are ranking them now and it's adjusting.
Oh, okay.
Because I could have sworn episode 1 was ranked 8.9 not too long ago.
And maybe like as more viewers watch it, the rankings change. Is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But either way, at some point it was 8.5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Either way, strong episode, good episode. Love to
Hell
see
yeah.
John Burt. We know we have 2 episodes being dropped soon.
Next, yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
so the next time we cover this, we're gonna cover 2 episodes. Episode 5 and 6. So you guys will be seeing that from us pretty soon.
For
Um,
sure.
but overall solid. I'm not ready to give any stone ratings yet.
No,
But
for
I'm
sure. I mean, we're not
thinking,
even halfway through the season. Yeah.
yeah. Well, technically, aren't there 8 episodes?
I thought there's 9.
You're right. There
Yeah.
are 9.
There's 9. Yep.
So I'm excited for where this is gonna go. We know they just started filming season 2 like
Mm-hmm.
weeks ago, so like
Yep.
we know it's promising. and they have confidence in this being a really good episode. And we do know that there's a lot of things that we've been shown, like Miss Marvel's dad is going to show up soon in an upcoming episode. We're going to see John
Oh,
Bernthal.
really? I didn't see that.
Yeah. He's
Nice.
he plays a role of some sort. We
Okay.
know we see him, I think, in the what seems to be like a bank robbing scene. And I think it was, who was it that was talking about the clip art that they showed? One of our fellow podcasters noticed that the people that had the guns and doing this bank robbery, they all had different ski mask colors, and they're all the color of the Infinity Stones.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, so there's like,
Oh, I think I
purple,
did
yellow,
see that.
red.
Yeah.
And I think he's like a hostage of some sort in that situation. So maybe he's at the bank, works for the bank. Not entirely sure. And then, like I said, John Bernthal is going to shave his face and be in full get up. We haven't seen, Matt fight Muse yet. So maybe in these next two episodes, they're going to fight. And yeah, I'm not really sure what the big finale is going to be, what it's leading up to, and I'm eager to see that. And I think it's the first time in a long time that I don't have speculation of where this is going to go.
Yeah, and that means it's a good show. If you can't tell midway how it's gonna end, that means they're doing something right.
Right. Agreed.
Yep. So that is going to do it for us today. We want to thank you guys for joining us yet again. And as always, Kike, I'm with you
to the end of the line. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to like and subscribe.
Also, hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all our new episodes and more.
Ha 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 ha!